Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I've posted in the past. If you have any video that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Yesterday, we were at the supermarket and we found some cold hot salmon on sale. This cold hot salmon has never been frozen, and they was in a really good price. And I couldn't wait to go home and to cook this salmon. I purchased a pound and I'm going to divide it into 3 meals. At home, I have some wonderful green beans that were given to us by our neighbor. He gave us quite a bit, probably about 2 to 3 pounds of green bean. Now, green beans do not last forever, of course, and here's a tip I'd like to share with you. If you have excess amount of green bean, the best thing to do is that if you blanch them, and then they can last for much longer. So what I did is that I blanched about maybe 2 pounds of green beans, and I stored in the refrigerator. So today I'm going to cook this salmon with the green bean. Okay, so I have the 2 parts of this meal's puzzle figured out. The another thing that I was thinking on my mind that I'm really going to enjoy is some pan-fried pasta noodles. Both my wife and I love pan-fried pasta noodles. And normally, when I cook pasta noodles, I usually cook about maybe 2 pounds. And I store them in the refrigerator. I can use these pasta noodles for many different types of dishes, from a regular spaghetti pasta dish, or I can use it as a lo mein or as a chow mein. However, among all the pasta noodles dishes that we have had in the past, probably the favorite is pan-fried pasta noodles. Now, this pan-fried pasta noodles is a imitation or a representation of a Cantonese pan-fried noodles. They normally use egg noodles, but the pasta noodles work extremely well. There are a couple of things I would like to share with you, the importance to make sure this dish turn out to be okay. Probably the most important thing is that you need to store the pasta noodles in the refrigerator for about 48 hours or longer. This will cause the pasta noodles to dry out. And the advantage is that when you start to pan fry it, it will not stick to the bottom surface of the wok. And the second important thing is that make sure that you have enough cooking oil, but not too much, just enough to coat the pasta noodles. And you know when you have too much if you have oil sitting at the bottom of the wok. Now, when you pan fry the pasta noodles, one important thing is that to keep your heat low. Usually, medium to medium low will be perfect. So in this case, you will not end up burning the noodles. And the goal is that to just brown it adequately to give it a nice crispy texture. When you do this, you can basically leave the noodles in the wok usually for about 1 to 2 minutes before you turn it. This will cause it to slightly to brown. As you can see here, when I first put the pasta noodles in, the wok is set at high, so some of them burn slightly. But in the future, I will be more careful. Slight burn is okay. That's not something that you have to be too concerned about. But the key is that don't burn it too much. And as you notice that the next part is perfectly good. I have mainly browned them and with minimum amount of burning. And also you notice that there's nothing stick to the bottom surface of the wok. I use a Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. I use my spot seasoning method before I start this cooking session to season the wok. As you can see, the result is excellent. You can use the same spot seasoning method if you use a carbon steel wok as well. This, without any questions, is my favorite method for eating pasta noodles. If you have never tried this before, you should give it a try. It truly provides you an excellent culinary experience. Now for this dish, I'm creating what I would call a one-dish meal. So I'm going to pile the noodles in one part of this large dish because I'm going to put other food ingredients on the same dish. And I will explain later why I prefer this. And the next step is to pan fry the salmon. Now, I call this shallow frying. Basically, you fry the salmon on one side and turn it over to fry the other side. And the best way to fry salmon is cut them up into small pieces so you can manipulate them individually and it will not affect the flavor at all. And in this case, I fry the skin side of the salmon first. This will allow me to char the skin And that's another advantage, is that because of the charring, it will drive the oil underneath the skin. And the end result is that it gives the skin a really great flavor. I then turn the salmon over to fry the other side. Now, because the salmon is cut into small pieces, it takes them very little time to cook. Usually only about maybe 2 minutes on one side, another minute on the other side. Again, you can decide how long you fried it, depending on how well you want the salmon to be done. So it gives you tremendous amount of control. Okay, next I'm going to set the salmon aside because I'm now ready to cook the third part of this dish. And this includes the vegetables that I'm going to use for this dish. First of all, I'm going to start out with some yellow squash, which was given to me by our neighbor as well. And they are excellent for provide texture as well as add color to the dish. This is followed by the addition of some portobello mushroom. Now, the mushroom plays a very important role in this dish because mushroom is very absorbent of the oil on the surface of the wok. As you can see, almost immediately after I put the mushroom in, the oil on the surface almost completely soaked up by the mushroom. This gives the mushroom great flavor, as well as you are able to harvest the nutritional benefits of the oil coming from the salmon. This is followed by a small amount of purple cabbage. Now, this is where advanced prepping comes in. All of these ingredients I already have on hand, and all I need to do is to find them in the refrigerator. And it's a lot of time you can experiment with different combinations. Like this particular combination that I'm using now, I don't think I have ever used that before. But it sounds good to me, but more importantly, it's because I have them available. Okay, now I put the green beans into the wok. Now, the reason I put the green bean at the very last minute, because I really do not need to cook the green bean because the green bean has been blanched. And I have cooked the green bean to the texture that I want. So at this point, I'm just mix everything together. The yellow squash, the mushroom, and the purple cabbage all cook very quickly. So by additioning the green bean at the end, just a stir, I'm almost have the dish all ready to go. A cooking vegetable in a stir-fry dish frequently involves adding different vegetables at different time. And I call this sequential stir-frying because then you can determine the texture of the vegetable based on how long you want to cook them. The next part is I'm going to season the dish. I'm going to season it with oyster sauce to start out. Now, oyster sauce turned out to be really my favorite sauce. Now, you might have a different preference. The reason I like oyster sauce so much is because its versatility. You can use it in almost any type of dish. And the nice thing about oyster sauce is it blends into with the food ingredients. To create a little bit more sauce, I add water to the wok because some of the food ingredients have burned to the surface of the wok. This will allow me both to basically clean them, like steam cleaning, and also retrieve the flavor back into the dish. Now, since oyster sauce already has cornstarch, adding water will allow me to thin it out to the texture that I want. And so in this case, I do not need to use additional cornstarch to make this flavor for the sauce. The next is that I'm going to add a touch of hoisin sauce. Oyster sauce and hoisin sauce is truly a good combination in terms of the type of flavor that you can create. By varying the ratio between them, you can create a wide variety of flavor profile. And in this case, of course, your food ingredients play a significant role. Okay, next is that I transfer the vegetable onto one part of the dish, which I have done earlier, and then I'm going to layer the salmon right over it. And then last but not the least, I'm going to garnish the dish on the side of the noodles with some scallion, which is the top part of scallion that is green in color. And then I garnish the part where the salmon is with the bottom part of the scallion. Because when I cut the scallion, I separate them from the top part, which I cut into small chunks, whereas the bottom part, I cut them into strips. To top it off and to complete the dish, I basically decorate the dish with some cherry tomatoes. Now, this is really important and something I like to point out to you, the necessity of the advanced prepping. Because with advanced prepping, you can have many ingredients on hand. And Of course, particularly with vegetables, they're all very colorful, and you can make choices in terms of what to include your dish, not only from the standpoint of flavor, but also from the standpoint of visual appeal. I think nobody will argue that good-looking food usually means that they are good-tasting food. So pay attention to the visual presentation of a dish is also an important consideration. Home cooking can be immensely enjoyable and pleasurable, particularly you become creative when you start to explore different aspects of your dish, not just from a flavor standpoint, but also from a visual perspective. So if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. This will help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.